It's wintertime in Boone, where the smell of freshly brewed coffee scatters the air. It's often hard to find things to do when it's cold, quiet, and snowy.
But this is the Appalachian Front. There's always something to do. In the last season, we showed you where you can ride horses, throw tomahawks, explore caves, find new hiking trails, and even had a Gordon Ramsay episode. So it's time we cover what we can do in the winter on this season of the Appalachian Front. Better get another cup. Blue Deer Cookies. A small idea that started in a food truck and has exponentially increased in size since. After the crew started off our days with freshly brewed coffee, we sat down with store owners Austin and Callie Northern to find out about their experience owning Blue Deer Cookies.
I'm Callie.
And I'm Austin Northern. We own Blue Deer LLC, which includes the Sweet Shop on King Street, our camper in between Boone and Blowing Rock. So the Blue Deer started May of 2018 out there on the highway. We started in it was a 1966 zipper camper from Camden, South Carolina that was crap. We rebuilt it into what it is now. Each year we try to do more as far as lights and as far as music. That's where it'll always be out there.
That's really awesome. What gave you guys the inspiration to open it?
When we were at school in Liberty, there was a similar concept out there, and we thought to ourselves, man, how awesome would this be in Boone? How awesome would this be at home? And here we are, about 4 years later. So.
Man, 2018 was that long ago, huh? Could you guys tell me what the inspiration was behind the deer mascot and Blue Deer Cookies, the name in general?
So we were walking in Charleston, South Carolina, near that Slave Mart shopping center thing, and we saw something similar to like the salty dog, and we were like, that's interesting. What if we incorporated like an animal? And then kind of just one thing led to another, and we came up with Blue Deer.
Could you guys tell me a little bit about these pieces along the wall? It seems like they're all done by the same artist.
Yeah, so...
It's a print and then they artist enhanced it. So it was kind of neat to be able to find ones that would all kind of go together. But downstairs in the bathroom there's a deer and she's in a yellow dress. And originally it was an ostrich, and so we were like, oh, could you change the ostrich into a deer? And they were like, yeah, that'd be no problem. So I believe that was the only one that was a different animal, but they all had different backgrounds, and they were able to kind of make them all match.
We love them. We just love them, and just the fields that they bring in here.
Could you guys tell me a bit about your house beans and the coffee you guys serve here?
Yeah, so we are proudly a local line coffee shop. Josiah and his wife have been awesome. We were able to work with them to create our own Blue Deer blend, and we're probably going to work to do another coffee, like an Ethiopian or something, but yeah, they do a great job. Okay, so we make all of our cookies from scratch. So the chocolate chip cookie, I guess, came from your mom? Yeah, so came from the mom. Then the rest of them were just came from ideas like, okay, what would a graham cracker cookie be like? What would a snickerdoodle? And just like coming up with initial ideas of flavor, and then led me down the rabbit hole of finding recipes. As far as the cookies, the crowd pleaser is always the original chocolate chip with vanilla. In the summertime, graham cracker peach is killer.
My personal favorite is a double chocolate cookie with coffee ice cream.
We're also Boone's only homemade milkshake. Throw that in there. I'm on a milkshake kick.
Yeah.
So cookies and cream milkshake with real Oreos in there.
So why are ice cream sandwiches or those sandwiches your signature?
It's just a unique item, right? It's going back to why we even started in the first place. We knew that, and it's really cool to hear that people really like our products, but we kind of tie it back to the experience, right? Like, I grew up here, we both did, and we never had a place just like hang out. Like even now, still the places to hang out are like the Wendy's parking lot or the Walmart parking lot. And once we saw something that could be so cool, that could attract so many different people, and not only locals, but students like y'all or tourists, which, you know, when y'all leave, we have a whole like community of tourists and part-time people who come with their families. So we thought to ourselves, okay, what can we do? How can we bring all those groups of people together in one place? And ice cream cookie sandwiches are doing. Because actually at our camper, we actually had our first proposal because their first date was at the camper. Our vanilla lattes, really we've been doing a lot of chais here lately. In the summertime, we actually have a BC named after our favorite customer, but it's half cold brew, half lemonade. It's very interesting and it's very refreshing. And then coming April will be the Blue Deer on Main, Blown Rock Main Street location. It's Blown Rock's first post office. The building was built in 1920 and was the first Blown Rock post office from the 20s through the 40s, and then after World War II, it became the Parkway Hotel. But bringing back this awesome rock building is going to be awesome. I'm glad we're going to be able to be a part of it. We're also doing a Banner Elk camper this year, from Memorial Day through Labor Day. We're working on a second camper location, a full-time, off the mountain.
With cookies, coffee, ice cream, milkshakes, and a place to sit down, Blue Deer felt instantly home-like as soon as I walked in. The artwork on the wall was intriguing, along with the whole interior of the place. There are multiple couches, tables, chairs, and benches to have a perfect time with your friends, family, or even a date. So when you start your trip down King Street in the morning, be sure to stop by Blue Deer Cookie Company. On the intersection of College Street and King Street, you'll find a place you will never regret going to. Anna Bananas is one of the biggest names on King Street. With clothes ranging from designer shirts, pants, and jackets, to vintage shoes, jeans, and hats. We were welcomed warmly into Anna Bananas. With smiles and laughter all around, we met Anna, the owner of the store. She explains in great detail how she runs a store of this capacity, the best parts of doing it, and what she wants to see in the future.
I'm Anna Roseman of Anna Bananas. We've been here a little over 10 years now.
What gave you the idea and inspiration for Anna Bananas?
Basically, I came here to start my life over and live a simple life, raising my daughter here in this town. I'd gone to school here back in the 90s. When I was brainstorming what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, I considered that I wanted to move here. I knew this community is lovely. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, and this is a really beautiful village. Anyway, I knew there was place in the market to bring in resale and consignment. I wanted to go into a business that was sustainable and also focused on local. You know, and I love clothing, I always have, and I love art.
Yes. Are your clothes brought in from only local people, or do you guys have a system where people can send in clothes, or?
Our clothing is primarily locally sourced, all from people, you know, college students, locals, even tourists or seasonal residents here will, whenever they're in town, You know, many from Florida, and they'll come see me every season that they're here and bring their stuff. So it's pretty much all local.
And do you guys ever have any exceptionally popular brands that come in, like maybe Tommy Hilfiger or Calvin Klein, that just sells out like that?
So number one, we sell style. But yes, there are brands that are hot right now, and those are Free People, which is one of my personal favorites.
My mom's favorite.
I love Free People, but it's so artistic. And also right now, your Tommy Hilfiger, a lot of throwback brands that are happening. We couldn't be in business without every element of that tourist, local, seasonal, and app state. Our core demographic, where we could not exist without students. And honest to goodness, I love all of the customers we have, all of them. And you've been here this morning, you've seen across the board. But I love the energy of living in a college town. I love the energy of that hope and that excitement for the future and the exploration. A lot of people get to college and they're checking out, they're trying this and trying that. They were too, scared to try out in high school because of what somebody might think. So it's so cool to see a kid come in and I get to watch them grow.
Do you guys have any local jewelers or clothing designers that you guys highlight here?
I want to talk to anybody that comes in our door that makes handmade things. We do have quite a few local crafters that make jewelry that we're carrying right now. Going to be expanding soon, and that's a big part of what I want to do. I love what we do. I love resale, I love secondhand, I love the money goes straight to the community.
So if you're in the search for something comfortable, unique, and a little bit cheaper, you can find them on a corner of King Street and Depot Street in that little strip mall right next to the Happy Place. So now that I've seen the styles of today's fashion, it's time to go learn about the styles of the past, the pictures of the past, and even the tools used in the past. All found right here at the Appalachian Antique Mall. This 3-story mall has everything and anything that you can imagine when it comes to historical memorabilia. Albums, ceramics, pictures, paintings, bicycles, bottles, clothes, record players, old TVs, candy, chakras, books, literally anything. With so much to look at, I reached out for some help and some guidance around the tour. The owner, Jill Reeves, came to my assistance. Showing me around each individual booth and telling me stories about all of them, you never really appreciate how many stories have been lost in the past. So we sat Jill down. We talked to her, her daughter Samantha, and her grandson Dante. We asked him a few questions about antiques, business, and life.
My name is Jill Reeves, and I'm the owner of Appalachian Antique Mall. The building was built in 1937, but the Antique Mall didn't start until 1984. And that was started by some of the most prominent, I think, or well-known people in this town. And that would be, I think, Chief Joe Miller and John Cooper.
And how long have you owned Appalachian Antique Mall?
Since 2004.
How did you get into this kind of business, antiquing, finding dealers? I know you started out on Antiques on Howard Street. How did you get there and to here?
Well, my mother had a little second-hand shop during World War II. And so, I guess I just grew into it because I've always loved finding, interesting things and antiques and stuff, and then repurposing them, maybe giving them a new life so that someone doesn't throw them away.
Do you know how many vendors you may have in the store right off the top of your head?
Well, I think I have about 60, but it varies, from time to time, but a lot of our dealers who have been here, and some of them have been here since the store opened in 35 years ago. And lots of dealers have been here 25 years. But we're getting new vendors all the time. And they bring fresh ideas, and that's exciting.
What's one of your favorite pieces in the store?
Oh, well, I'm pretty fond of the 6-foot-tall giraffe. And then I like rocking horses, and I like old trunks. Because they all of them have a story to tell, and especially depending on the era in which they were made. The Art Deco has a certain style and stuff like that. Another thing that I like a lot, are old tins, and we have a lot of those. and they're beautiful and they're artistic, and you can tell when they were made just because of the design on them. We'll get engaged here, and people dance in the aisle, and we love to hear people singing.
My name's Samantha Reeves, and I'm the daughter of the owner, Jill Reeves, and I help her manage it and run it.
Could you tell us a little bit about the Appalachian Antique Mall? Like, how long has your mother owned it?
I believe she's owned it for at least 14 or 15 years. It's gigantic, so there's 3 floors. Each space is a different dealer. I don't know the amount of dealers, but I know that there's at least around 40 dealers, different dealers that have, you know, a space and sell different things.
What made you want to work with antiques and help your mom out up here?
So, we always wanted to move up here, my husband and I, and thought it would be a great place to raise our kids. And my son was starting middle school, and it just seemed like the right time to make that move. And I could move up here and have a kind of a job with my mom, and her and I are very similar and have fun together. I think that any day you come into the store, you never know what you're going to find. There's so many interesting pieces, and so even just when I'm here working, I'll walk around and be like, oh, what did this dealer bring in? And what's new. You know, there's some really cool vintage pieces that I didn't even know about until I started working here. I learned about the Japanese currency from, you know, Pearl Harbor, how they stamped the money. I never knew about that, and so there's a lot of history.
Do you guys have any new projects you're working on?
Yes, we are definitely trying to get the upstairs going to be able to ship items and sell things online, so that people who aren't comfortable, you know, coming into the store can still find some items online, and then we can ship it.
I understand there's a craft room that was in the basement. Could you tell me a little about that?
Yeah, so the town of Boone usually had the first Friday kind of art walk where people would go to different shops, and we would serve snacks and hors d'oeuvres and even, you know, wine, and that was always kind of a neat event before COVID, obviously. And also, yes, we have a craft room downstairs that we would do some craft classes like alcohol inks, some different projects down there. So that's been sad that we haven't been able to do that since COVID.
I'm Dante Costco, and I'm 13 years old. I mainly tidy up, carry boxes downstairs, sometimes sweep. Basically try to help out any way I can.
Do you deal anything yourself here?
Yeah, I deal candy.
Now that I have some new clothes, learned a little bit more about history, and the Hands Gallery is right down the road, it's time I submit myself as a piece of art. This piece of art that we call Timothy. Okay, maybe not. The work inside Hands Gallery is absolutely mesmerizing. The second you walk in, you can't take your eyes off of it. Not only are the individual pieces of art throughout the store beautifully created, but the way they combine everything and set everything up inside just makes it absolutely immaculate. Everything has its own home, and is split into sections by artist. After being greeted by one of the employees, we had a chance to see what it takes to run such an amazing gallery. And it turns out, there is a lot more to Chrissy Callejas than just being an employee of the store.
I am Chrissy Callejas, and I work at Hands Gallery in downtown Boone 2 days a month, and I'm one of the members, the artist members here. We don't really have any employees, everybody works for free. I've been in the gallery for probably about 40 years. I've been doing art. I came to Appalachian in 1968 to go to school, and I got an art degree in art education, and so I have been a professional artist since I was 30. I'm 70 now, so 40 years. Yeah, and Hands was really my first opportunity to display my work. You can find mostly the craft kind of art, but we do have 3 or 4 painters also that is considered fine art. But we have everything from photography to gourd art to a lot of pottery, functional, a lot of jewelry, some woodworking, some furniture. Stained glass is a big deal. We have stained glass artists, so, and baskets and clothing, some, shawls and hats and gloves. Well, we have about 17 or 18 working artists, people that actually come in the store and work 2 days a month. And those are our main members. And then we have consignment items that are supplied by local people within 50 miles usually, that fill in the rest of the gallery. So we probably have 30 consignment people and 17 or 18 actual artists that work in here. And we're the real core of the group. The people that work in here actually make the rules and go to the meetings and everything. We also make a little bit more money than people on consignment.
Awesome. And how can an artist display and sell their work in here?
You have to be juried in to sell your work in here, and there's a process. You have to go online and get your application for Hands Gallery, and then the group meets and decides if we need your work, if it's the quality we want, if you're professional enough. A lot of the people that have started in here already had many years of experience before they actually joined the gallery. Well, one of my favorites is Debbie or Dan. She's been in here in the gallery a long time too, and she does this jewelry right here, which is sterling silver and brass, different but she cuts all these pieces out with a saw. There's no machines involved with her work except when she shines it up. And it's hard to believe, people don't think that she cuts them out herself. And she has a little studio next to her house. Here it is. And she works, she's been in the gallery probably for 25 or 30 years. And so that's one of my favorites. And the other favorite thing are these gourds that are carved. Watercolor paintings of Lynn Soders. She also makes soap and a few little books. And I love these felted pieces. These are felted pieces. And then right here is Brenda Schramm's pottery. The pottery is one of the most, that sells probably more than anything. The pottery and some of the jewelry and the stained glass. A group of artists from Boone just happened to start this place 45 years ago. There were like 7 core members. I was not one of them, but there were 7 people, some from the university, just from around the town, and they just thought, well, let's get together and open a store. So it just happened to be people that lived in Boone and were making art in Boone. It wasn't open in Boone because we thought that would be a great place to open. We just all happened to live here. I think that big art communities tend to go to places that are beautiful, whether it's the ocean or the mountains, because you can make art anywhere, and we're independent businesses, so we could do our work anywhere. But we're lucky that we have this gallery where we can sell our work, so we don't have to travel as much to craft shows. But we know many artists that live in the way back in the mountains that in order to sell their work, they have to drive quite a long way and do craft shows and do a lot of extra work. And anyway, I just think artists tend to gather in places that are beautiful.
It's been a long time since I felt the type of community I felt today throughout King Street. There will always be people waiting to show off who they are and gift the community with a sense of art and imagination. The Dancing Moon. I could go for a nap. Not quite the spot to sleep, I see, but certainly a place to relax. The Dancing Moon is a store of spirituality. Come in here and you'll find books, jewelry, posters, paintings, community art, comfortable seating, mesmerizing ceilings, and the list just goes on and on and on. Found only 2 doors away from Hands Gallery, Dancing Moon continues that feeling of homeliness. It's a combination of the warm wooden and stone walls with the accented colors of red, brown, and green dancing around the store. We met with the owner of the store, Bob Sneed. For over 20 years, Bob has run the store right here on King Street. He brings stories, guided meditation, and spirituality to the town of Boone.
My name is Bob Sneed, and I own the Dancing Moon Earthway bookstore here in Boone. A good friend of ours, Dolly Went, bought the Dancing Moon from the 2 other ladies, Kim Isaac and another lady, in 1992. In 1998, she sold the Dancing Moon to me.
What made you guys want to buy Dancing Moon? What was it about this place?
Well, I was talking with Dolly one day, I went by her house to visit with her on the way home. And she said, well, Bob, I'm going to sell the Dancing Moon and move to Hawaii. I went, okay, that sounds good. When I left and got in the car to go home, the voice said, buy the moon, Bob. And I was like, how? So that's how I came about it. I listened and to what I was suggested I do, and everything fell into place. It was quite easy to do.
What kind of products do you guys sell here?
We sell about everything. We have tapestries, gloves, clothing, art stuff, books, jewelry, candles, you name it, we've got it.
Awesome. And where do you get these things? Is it locally? Is it consignment?
Some is consignment, some is local. For instance, we have a lady who does local soaps. She makes the soaps, she's local. Majority of the jewelry up front is local.
What are some of your most popular items, would you say? The best sellers?
Tarot decks and crystals are probably the two best. We like to sell spiritual-based books, visionary fiction, and the books that goes all around that, whether it's how to set up your household, or how to work with crystals, or the tarot cards, oracles.
How about the Sarah Goodyear Studios?
Sarah used to live around here, and we started having her art in here. She currently now lives in West Virginia. But Sarah's a great person, and her artwork reflects her personal life. So as she goes through joys and tragedies, it comes out in art.
Could you guys tell me a little bit about the decorations you got? I mean, you guys have beautiful painted ceilings, some walls, the stone arch, the Tibetan flags. There's a lot.
Oh, I know. The stuff on the walls and the ceilings was here when we got here. This was the old foot sloggers. Haynes Bourne built the new foot sloggers with a climbing wall. And when he moved out of here, we moved in here.
Events you guys want to hold once this horrible pandemic has passed?
You know, when it does pass, we look forward to having some people come in and present things they want to speak about, some workshops, and back to some guided meditations. Years ago, I did guided meditations on certain evenings, and we'll pick that back up again when we can. Well, we consider ourselves a family business, so most everybody here is here by virtue of we've kind of adopted into our family, and they work here, and they have stuff to sell here, so they kind of help us and we help them.
The community of Boone always seems to bring me good memories. So try to make some of your own at the shops on King Street the next time you're traveling on the Appalachian Front.